Here I'm taking some lumber that I actually reclaimed from a pallet to make the framework for my to hold my drill press a couple inches higher than the cart that I'm starting with. I marked the board so I know where to put the center braces, which is a little bit forward of center because I wanted it to line up with the holes in the drill press to mount to the table. I glue and screw these together. I then take a piece of plywood that I had from an old shelving unit I haven't actually had assembled since I moved into my house 12 years ago. I attach that to the framework for the drawers using glue and screws again. Wasn't quite square, a clamp makes it square. I use the square to the little framer square here to rafter square to mark where my other screws go in, just so I actually hit the boards that are below it. And here I'm test fitting the drill press so I know where to put the lag screws that will hold it on. The lag screws that I use have a threaded end on them, so I can put a nut on the top to hold it down, and the lag screws into the bracing. Pilot holes always make it a little easier to install. So does a little vice grip. Actually installed them a little bit too far and unscrewed them a couple of turns. Now I'm drilling the pilot hole so I can attach this drawer framework to the Pitney Bowes mail cart that I pulled out of a dumpster 6-7 years ago. I've had it full of I don't want to say garbage, but most of what was in it ended up in the garbage can. And then I attach it from the underside with screws. This is probably where I would have bolted it on and been done with it if I wasn't making a YouTube video. But making a YouTube video, I figured I better actually complete the project. First hole drilled while it's attached. Yeah, like I said, this is probably where I would have stopped at if I wasn't making a YouTube video. I don't have anything put in the storage underneath yet. I would probably just leave the other spots open to set stuff as I'm using it. But making a video, I decided I might as well make some drawers and, do it right. Here I'm putting little wooden runners down so the drawers fit over the top of the door in the front, because the door was taller than the front of the cabinet is. About 3/4 of an inch taller. So I glued these to the framework and then used 3 staples a piece to hold them in. And here I'm taking some more plywood I had from who knows when and making some drawer bottoms. Once I knew the drawer bottoms fit the way I wanted to, which included notching the rear of the one to fit around one of my screws holding the framework together. It was time to make some drawers to sit on top of them. I just took some, I used some 3/4 inch plywood that I had. It was already cut to this width. It just been sitting out the side, sitting to the side. That's kind of why the back is a little bit shorter, because it's a different piece of scrap than the sides. I needed the sides to be full height so they would hold, to hold the drawer in place. The front and back weren't quite as important. And here I'm cutting out a false front to go on the front of the drawers I just made, using a piece of 1/4 inch plywood I had. I first cut it to the length of the overall drawer and then cut a hole in the middle, or cut a slot in the middle to make it 2 drawers. Then I attach that with just a couple of staples. I then make a pair of drawers for the rear. This drawer is made with a 3/4 inch plywood bottom and 3/4 inch sides. Pieces of lumber I had. And then glued and stapled together. Very similar to the construction of the front drawers. And this drawer also has a little bit shorter runners than the front drawers, but had runners that fit over that little fitting for the that held the original mail sorter that went on top of this cart. And this drawer was made with a 1/4 inch bottom that was dadoed in. This is my favorite drawer of them all. I wish both of the rear drawers were this way. I used eyelets I had as drawer pulls for the center. Thinking of making some drawer pulls, haven't decided how yet. Here you can see the construction of this drawer with a 3/4 inch bottom, 3/4 inch sides, all glued and stapled together. Nothing fancy. On short little drawer runners. It works. And this one actually works the best, running right on the metal. It's got the 1/4 inch bottom that's dadoed in. There's a little tab that was in my way. I should have ground that off before I attached the top. I could have made both rear drawers like the right rear drawer. Time to paint. Use some old flat black paint that I had, and I like to add about 20-25% acetone to my first coat. It just seems to go on a little smoother, a little bit nicer. Then use the foam roller. Painted the fronts and just a little bit of the sides that you're going to see. Bring them over next to the wood stove so they dry a little faster. Here I am painting the door front. And painting the cabinet. Add a couple of chunks of pallet to the wood stove to keep the garage warm. Maybe spring in most of the country, but it's still winter in Minnesota. I picked up this stencil when I was at the craft store with my daughter. She wanted to pick up some stencils for her bedroom walls, and it looked kind of fun. I kind of like the result it turned out. And then coated it with a clear lacquer. I used a spray lacquer for the drawer fronts just because it seemed easier. Made that flat black paint nice and glossy. And I used a brushing lacquer for the rest of it. And once again, I was using a foam roller to apply it. Watching me turn this old Pitney Bowes mail sorting cart that I pulled out of a dumpster years ago into a drill press cart. I was sick and tired of lugging this heavy drill press up onto my workbench, down onto the floor when I wanted to use the workbench. The workbench was really too high for it. It's an in-between model that it didn't really work on a workbench. It needed a lower bench. This has turned out to work really well. I'll build drill bit storage for there. I got sanding drums in there. The fence and stuff is one of the back drawers. The other back drawer is empty. The bottom is empty. I'll find a way to fill the storage. I do have to make locks for it. What I'm going to do is attach 3 of this camp styles to the sides, 1 on each side near the front, 1 in the center in the back. I think that'll keep it sturdy, keep it where it is when I need to use it. For a dumpster find and old wood I had and old paint I had, I think the project turned out really well. Thanks for watching me build it. Stay tuned next time for when I build some drill bit storage. Thanks for watching. Good night.